Hello gamers, welcome back! You've already read the title of this video, so you know what it's about. It's about when I used to be a cheater in Minecraft. Now obviously I don't cheat anymore because that would be immoral since I pretty much record, so I kind of come off as a role model at this point, but a few years ago I used to do a lot of stuff related to hacking. Now before you click off this video thinking it's just going to be another boring video about how I talk about how I used to hack, remember that I've literally never done a story time video on this channel before. Since I'm making one right now, it's going to be a good one. So if you want to know what I did, watch to the end. So to start the story, I'm going to have to go back to the beginning. The first time I hacked. When I was pretty young, I used an office mouse to play Minecraft, and realizing that a gaming mouse would give me an advantage in PvP got me asking my dad to buy me one. Obviously me as a small child and my dad as some middle-aged man who knows literally nothing about mice, we decided to get the first thing that comes up on Amazon when you search gaming mouse, rather than actually looking for a PvP mouse. And of course, a gaming mouse from Amazon is going to have some gaming buttons. And this mouse had quite the gaming button, since it literally had an auto clicker on top of it. At this time, I barely knew what hacking was, so I just decided to use it whenever I was PvPing. I thought it was like some kind of automated version of clicking, but I had no idea I was literally hacking at that point. I used this auto clicker on Hypixel for nearly 2 years. In the middle of them 2 years, I realized I was hacking after on a separate server to Hypixel, I said that I have a button on my mouse that clicks for me, and I got banned for admitting to hacks. As a small child, I just spammed one of the admins and told them that I had no idea I was hacking before, literally getting a message from the owner of the server explaining to me that any modification that's giving me an unfair advantage is considered hacking. I didn't stop auto-clicking after he told me this though, because I didn't think I was good enough to click as fast as the auto-clicker, so I remained using it. A few months later, I discovered a client that many know by the name of Worst. The only reason why I used this hack client was because it didn't need a password to install since I was on a family computer at the time. This hack client is now a meme because of how terrible it is. But I decided to use it on some servers I didn't like because I thought it'd be funny. Worst has a feature on it which allows users to join random Minecraft servers which aren't even released to the public. So I used to join them and grief some multiplayer worlds people had. I don't condemn this behavior, by the way. I also used to join the second biggest server at the time, Mineplex, which I've been banned on about 3 times now due to cheating on there. At this time I hadn't used any hacks on Hypixel yet besides an auto-clicker which I used frequently. Months flew by and I discovered a new client called Jigsaw, which at the same time was one of the best around. The client had a new groundbreaking feature called TP Aura, which allowed hackers to get up to 100 block reach on other players. After installing this, I discovered alts, which is what started my hacking history. Alt accounts allow me to bypass bans at any time I wanted. When I used a VPN, I could literally bypass anything. This was not good for server owners. At the time I discovered this client, Shotgun Raids was making his clickbait Godbridge videos, and there was beef between Tenebris and Shotgun Raids. I saw Tenebris' video on Godbridging and why it was fake, and by the way, he's completely wrong about that. So I saw many other people Godbridging who I just thought were hackers, which made me think that all these people can get away with hacking, so why can't I? So guess what I did? I used Safe Walk and Fast Place on Hypixel. Yes, and I not only used them hacks, but I didn't even use an alt, I just did it on my main account. And did I get banned? No. I did all this for about 4 hours and then stopped to avoid getting banned. A ton of people on my friends list were convinced that I was some absolute god at the game, since Godbridging was considered something extremely impressive at the time. So after that, my cheating died down a bit, and eventually I stopped using my auto-clicker after realizing that it literally only clicked 9 CPS, and I could easily get 12 on the same mouse from jitter clicking. Now I'd stopped hacking on Hypixel and I hadn't used hack clients in a long time. So was I finished hacking? Absolutely not. This is when the story gets really interesting. This part of the video is basically why I'm uploading this video in the first place. Before I tell you, I just want to say that I'm genuinely sorry about any harm I've caused to people in the community, and I won't be doing anything like this ever again since now I need to set more of an example as someone who has an audience watching them. Alright, let me explain this. So nearly 4 years ago, a YouTuber named Pink Sheep made a video sponsored by a server hoster called Minehut. This video gained 2 million views and Minehut gained bucket loads of players on the server because of this. Minehut was a very unique server hoster because it was extremely simple to set up and completely free. Not sponsored, by the way. This meant that so many people with no experience were making Minecraft servers with little to no protection. Around the time I heard about this, I was really getting into Minecraft command blocks, and I knew a lot about how the game works and how to exploit it. I had figured out ways to make literal weapons on the server, only with creative mode and no admin permissions. I made a shulker box which you could save into your creative mode hotbar, and inside of it there were 3 other shulker boxes labeled with the categories weapons, mobs, and force up. The weapons section mainly had explosives. I made creepers that could explode instantly and destroy up to 10 times more land than TNT. I also made a blaze spawn egg which was titled Legit Cancer, which would basically crash the entire server when it came into contact with any blocks. I found multiple ways to crash the server which could compensate for many permissions on the server too. The mobs shulker box was filled with mobs which you can't usually get in the game without op. I was able to spawn ender dragons and giants with spawn eggs, and I created this spawn egg called a flashbang, which when placed would summon a dying ender dragon. Now if you don't know what an ender dragon does when it dies, it releases a crazy flashy light outside of it, and if you were to come in any kind of contact with these flashbangs, your entire screen would turn bright white. Remember, I did this with no admin permissions. But quite obviously, the best shulker box of all was the Force Op shulker box. This thing was insane. The first op I'd ever made only worked on servers which had the plugin Essentials, which limited my Force Op a lot. The item was a command block with an MBT inside of it, and when placed down by an operator, it would turn into an always active repeating command block with the script op player. This meant that as soon as the command block is placed, I get op, and now it's up to who can de-op me the fastest. As with op, you're allowed to de-op anybody. Although this worked a few times, it was also limited to servers where command blocks were enabled, so it's very difficult to find servers where it actually worked. With this in mind, I decided to try something else. While attempting to find new ways to force op, I also found out that I could use minecarts with command blocks inside of them to force op, and I also figured out a way to create a literal nuke that would crash everyone's Minecraft and blow up the server. After that, I discovered something insane that I can make. I remember that you can add commands to signs when they are right-clicked, so I decided to test out how this worked, and I found out that whenever an operator places down a sign with a command inside of it, and then right-clicks it, it runs the command. This was game-breaking. I decided to create my most powerful weapon yet, the Force Op sign. I made this sign stand out as much as possible. The sign had a green name saying, "Place me down," and when placed down, it would say on the sign, "Right-click me." When the user was to right-click, the sign would instantly give me op on their server. But the best thing about this was that it didn't actually say anything in chat. That meant that I could literally just de-op them without them knowing. But I didn't stop there. I realized that every sign had 4 lines of text, and for every line of text, a command could be added to them. This meant that all the commands would be set off at once within one right click. So what I did was I gathered a team of 4 people and got one sign to op all of them at once. This was insane, and it was nearly impossible to ban us since all 4 of us could just unban each other. Then after that, I created a set of command blocks which when placed down would de-op the owner and op us instead, whenever the owner joined with op. So you're probably thinking, well, you've proved to me how much of a dickhead you are. It can't get any worse than that, right? Well, okay, so Minehut claimed their servers were anti-DDoS. This meant that people can't crash them without having some kind of administrator powers. Well, that was pretty wrong. A few months later, me and my friend discovered a pretty dangerous loophole. This loophole was definitely the greatest exploit I had ever found, and I'm pretty sure Minehut actually patched it just because of us. After it was patched, I found that my main account had been banned for 3 months for crashing servers. Basically, how this worked was we would join servers with an auto-clicker and start hitting each other. Now, this wasn't just a normal PvP auto-clicker. This was a 10,000 clicks per second auto-clicker. So when we did this, the server would go crazy with lag. We found that it would work best on servers with lots of players, and that was perfect for us. Other smaller servers required more than 1 person to crash, but anyways, what we did was we joined the biggest server on Minehut we could find, which had over 100 members on it. I'm not going to say the name of the server because I don't want to bother them, since I do kind of feel bad about what I did, but we had a group of around 7 people, and we would log into the server at the same time and start auto-clicking, and within a second, the server would shut down. When the server shut down, everyone was sent to the Minehut lobby, which started to give us a lot of attention, since people in the Minehut lobby were freaking out over how the server essentially got DDoSed. But the thing that started to give us a lot of recognition was that we decided to say that we were from a hacker group called Dave. The name of this group was quite obviously a joke and not a real thing, but it got a lot of attention at the time. When crashing a server, we spammed in chat just before it crashed, "hacked by Dave," with a period in between each letter of the word Dave, as if it stood for something, when in actuality, it really didn't. When we crashed the server, people would freak out in the Minehut lobbies and say things like, "OMG, the server was hacked by Dave again!" And since there was like 100 people saying this at the same time, it created some crazy attention. We did this with multiple other servers as well as this one, but this server caused the most drama. I remember joining their Discord and seeing all the admins in the call trying to figure out how to stop a hacker group called Dave. I remember that we also once joined a call with one of the Minehut staff and asked them about Dave, and they said they were looking into the situation. So basically, we were wanted criminals in Minecraft. The drama actually got to the point where the word Dave resulted in an instant permanent ban on some servers to try and stop us from raiding their server. We used to spam bot Minehut lobbies with the word Dave over and over again as well, which created a ton of drama. Eventually, after we crashed the server for the however many times we did, one of the admins figured out how we were doing it. In the Discord server, I saw a video which they sent of 5 of us standing around in a circle auto-clicking. So they figured out that we must have been doing that to crash the server. One of the admins was immediately working on a plugin to stop us from auto-clicking. I joined their call muted and saw them all talking about how they're going to create a plugin to try and stop us from auto-clicking. When the plugin was finished, the owner of the Minecraft server literally messaged one of our members and told us to try and crash their server. We agreed to and logged on attempting to crash it. This time we got kicked from the server and were unable to click about 20 CPS. Was this the end of us crashing the server? No, it definitely wasn't. A day later, I figured out that if you change your character's main hand to their left hand, you can still auto-click with no ban. This confused the admins so much since they had literally no idea how he was still auto-clicking with the plugin blocking it. And eventually we got another message from the owner basically begging us to stop auto-clicking on his server. And out of remorse, we did stop auto-clicking. A few weeks later, the exploit was patched and my main account was banned from the server. But surprisingly, nobody else's account was banned who was in the group. And yeah, that was the end of Dave. Now, like I said, I don't recommend doing any of this, and I just wanted to share a really interesting story about my hacking experience. I won't be doing anything like this ever again because I believe I've matured a lot more from my past times, and just being a genuine dick is not really something that I want to do. I can't say that I didn't have fun doing it at the time, however. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like and subscribe, and if you want to see more kind of story content like this, let me know. I have no idea how I'll be able to do it because this is probably the greatest thing I've ever done in Minecraft before, but whatever. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.